And welcome back, YouTube. Part 3 of my journey to the dirty cement ATM here at Chase Bank. It's 11:26 p.m. Saturday, February 12th, 2022. I gotta admit, I'm actually kind of thinking about walking over to I don't know. Part of me wants to walk over to Wander Inn. And part of me wants to walk over to Kitty's Cocktails. I believe there's karaoke over there tonight. Although I've heard it's pretty much awful. The last time I went there, my friend Billy was hosting, and to be honest, I wasn't there long enough to really make a judgment on it. And generally speaking, Billy runs a pretty damn good show. I was in a horrible frame of mind that night, and super depressed. And I just remember getting there like right before last call, and just singing an angry Pantera song, and then walking and sitting on the bench, and just sitting on the bench because I was just so frustrated about not having my car. And I'm still pretty frustrated about not having my car. So, Priscilla actually managed to get a hold of my mechanic via text, and apparently he's having lung issues and hasn't been to the shop. At least that's what he's saying. I haven't been there to see if he's been there or not. I don't know. All I know is I don't have my car, and that's excessively frustrating. Yikes. This is... I hate that path right there. There really should be sidewalks along that. But at least there's a nice path across this part of the parking lot. Granted, it's not as direct as just walking across the parking lot, but I always feel a little better, even at night when there's hardly anybody using the parking lot, to walk down a tree-lined path. Oh, and of course the guy that was rushing down that little road that goes through the giant parking lot here was going to the Chase drive-up ATM. Where else would he be going? Yeah, where else would he be going? Even Chipotle is closed this time of night. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go home. I'm not really feeling walking anywhere farther tonight, and I'm down to a whopping, I think I left a whopping $2 in my pocket. So that doesn't, yeah, I should just head home. Last Saturday night I did go to Wander Inn, and yeah, I actually had, for the most part, a pretty fucking miserable time. I just I was in such a mood, I didn't feel like singing. When I did sing, it was just like, it was not, I don't know, normally I really enjoy singing. Normally, even if I'm in a bad mood or depressed or whatever, normally singing will put me in a good place. But yeah, didn't last Saturday, not at all. The only thing I kept thinking is I was just feeling so frustrated about, the last time that I was there, having my bag stolen with my good headphones and my CD player and the other stuff that I had in there. And I just kept thinking about that, and then, thinking about the fact that I'm there with my so-called girlfriend who, wants nothing to do with physical intimacy anymore. And so that was frustrating. And then on top of that, like, she had one of her friends, kind of my friend, but mostly her friend, that was like asking about that. I'm like, yeah, nothing's happening. At this point, I just let it all out there. I don't give a shit. And she's like, no, you guys are gonna go home. You guys are gonna go home and you guys are gonna get it on. Yeah, you know what didn't happen when we went home? We didn't get it on. And granted, I mean, I'm not really putting a whole lot of effort forth at this point in time either, because this, how many times how many times do you get told no before you just get sick of asking? Or at least you're not asking with much, just whatever. I'm naked. I'm here in bed if you want some of that. But I expect you don't, so go ahead and sleep on the couch fully clothed. Don't give a fuck anymore. So, yeah, so that's how that night ended up going. No shock there. But yeah, for the most part, I hardly talked to anybody last Saturday night, and I just didn't even enjoy singing. Had all of one pitcher of beer. I was in such a foul mood, I didn't even want to drink. So, yeah, I'm just not feeling it tonight. Of course, Priscilla went out without me, because... Oh, and she dressed all up, too, It's like, so you dressing up to impress? She's like, nobody. Like, yeah, right, whatever. Anyway. Blah. So, sorry, I've been kind of... I don't know. I should be happy, I mean, things are going good with Amazon, and I got cash flow, and I was kind of stressing about being down to $2 as I was at the ATM, and wondering how I was going to get through, the extra cash needed to, ride the express bus. And then I remembered that I'm getting a paid day off on Monday night, Sunday morning, or Sunday night, Monday morning. Yeah, it's a thing Amazon does whenever they have to close the facility for system maintenance, or close a section for system maintenance. If you're scheduled to work a shift in that facility at that time, they let you know not to bother to come in, and you get paid for it anyway. So that's pretty cool. I can't say I've ever had a job that did that. If something's wrong and they're not open, well, sorry, you're not working today, and you're not getting paid. It sucks. It sucks for everybody. And that's, and I've just kind of grown to accept that. But, yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna get an extra day to deal with stuff and get a little bit more sleep in. And next week will only be a 3-day work week at Amazon, which is nice. And should give me plenty of time during the day on Monday to go into a bank branch, and a Wells Fargo bank branch, and pull some cash out and more evenly distribute it. Because having a less than $10 balance in my Chase business account is not optimal. I mean, I don't think anything's coming out of it at this point, but still. Oh, and I wasn't really planning to spend anything out of it, actually. It just kind of boiled down to that repair shop over by Bullock's. And I guess I should have known, like, because I've been there before, and he said that he just cash only. And I knew that. I just kind of spaced it off, because, how many legitimate businesses in 2022 are cash only? In fact, it's more common in 2022 to encounter businesses that don't fuck with cash and just do everything through an app, through a credit card. So, excuse me. Yeah, it kind of. And of course, I was coming back from the bank and from Target over at Christown. So, I mean, I was at the branch. I was actually at the branch when I told the teller, what my issue was, of how I was missing my card, and I didn't have my ID, but here's my Costco card here's my other, here's my Wells Fargo credit card, and here's my Costco card, which has my picture on it. And, if you need me to verify my social or like birth date or address or anything, just whatever you want to ask. You want to know it's me, I can identify. I do think she had me punch in my PIN number. I don't even remember now at this point, but at any rate, like, she's like, oh yeah, no, you're you. That's cool. What can I help you with? Do you need? And then that's the first thing she asks is, well, do you need to make a withdrawal? And I'm like, no, I'm just concerned about where the card might be and who might have it. I want to verify that there were no unauthorized uses of it. every use on it was mine, and every use on it was mine. So if in the event I did, lose it on the bus or the train or a bus stop or whatever, sometimes I put my phone in my pocket and I pull the phone out and card just comes out of the pocket with it. And of course everyone's like, well, you should wear a wallet. You should get a wallet. You should get a wallet. I feel like I've told the wallet story before. Yeah, once upon a time I lost everything because I lost my wallet. And as a result, I ended up having to live on my friend Ken Kuhn's floor for like, gosh, a month and a half-ish, maybe 2 months. Well, I just started from square one and had to replace all my ID and shit, and save up enough money to get a bus ticket to get from Gillette, Wyoming, back to Denver. I was in the process of moving from Buffalo, Wyoming, where I just lost my job, which I had just barely got the job. I wasn't even there long enough to really get settled into being the morning guy at K-Light. I was the morning guy at K-Light for probably a whopping 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. That was a pretty freaking short-lived job. And yeah, I had all my cash, all my ID, and my bus ticket, all in my wallet. I lost my fucking wallet, and yeah, I've lost stuff since, and I swore I would never use a wallet again. And this was back in like, oh gosh, I want to say 1990 that this happened. And yeah, I've never had a wallet again since 1990. I've stuck by that. I stuck by that, not doing the wallet thing anymore. And I've lost some cards here and there, but I've never lost them all at once. Like right now, I'm missing my driver's license. I'm missing my Wells Fargo debit card. All the other debit cards and credit cards in my pocket that would be in my pocket, they're in my pocket and accounted for. So, yeah, that's kind of by design. I really do need to be more cautious though about putting my phones in that pocket and pulling them out and making sure that I'm not pulling out cards with. Anyway, at the bank, yeah, she asked if I needed cash, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need cash. And in hindsight, I should have thought, it's Friday, and odds are I won't be able to make it to a bank branch until next Friday, because of my work schedule and whatnot. And maybe it might be nice to have some cash where I can move it. Anyway, they say hindsight is 20/20. Anyway, nothing's overdrawn. I don't think I'll get any overdraft fees. It kind of seems to be the thing with Chase that as long as on the date that I get an email showing me that I've overdrafted a small amount, if I make a deposit, even a small deposit that covers it on that calendar day, even if it's late at night on that calendar day, especially on a weekend night. I don't know, sometimes on weekdays there's that whole business day ends at 5 shit, but it's Saturday shit. Sometimes Saturday and Sunday all kind of get lumped in the same day to the bank. But I'm reasonably confident I'm not going to get stuck with a service charge from Chase over that. This is frustrating. I have so little. But yeah, the reason I ended up spending more money out of the account, because I wasn't planning on spending anything out of that account. I just kind of put some money in there to, it's like, this will be good until I get my next direct deposit from Amazon on the following Friday. I got back to the repair place to pay for my screen, and I'm like, oh, you just take cash. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, fuck. And of course, the nearest, at this point, I can't even go back to Wells Fargo and because they're already closed for the day. I'm pretty sure it was like after 5 by the time I got there, because the whole, oh man, I think I mentioned in my last video, the bus was an absolute disaster. I mean, I was there for a better part of an hour waiting for, not sure if I could mention this or not in the last video, but yeah, I was sitting there I came out of Target, and out of habit, I went right to the light rail platform. I get on the light platform, and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting the train. I'm going back to the cell phone repair place by Bullock's. I need to get on the 60. And at that point, it was closer to just walk the rest of the way across 19th Avenue and go north up to Bethany home and catch the bus over by the hospital formerly known as Baptist Hospital than it was to backtrack to the where the 60 stops inside the Christown Transit Center, the Montebello Transit Center. And then there was also the thought of as I was doing that, there was a good chance that I could see that bus. How many times have I come off that train platform? I've lost count. How many times I've come off that train platform in time to see the bus there, pulling forward, leaving me, and heading out towards the roundabout to go up towards Bethany. And at least, if I started walking directly from the train platform towards Bethany, towards the station, the bus stop in front of the hospital, had I done that, which I did, like if the bus was in the process of leaving, I would see it going north on 19th, and I could kick up my pace a bit and still beat it to the bus stop, most likely. I mean, I've sprinted that and made that bus before, so it's because that bus gets stuck at a really long red left arrow, turning from North 19th Avenue across the tracks, across the light rail tracks, and going down, to get westbound onto Bethany. Anyway, that isn't what happened. And of course, since I didn't have my phone, I had no way of using the Valley Metro app to find out what, when the bus was coming, if the bus was coming. Well, come to find out, the next bus never showed up, because there were people saying, it's coming at this time, and that time came and went and never showed up. And at that point, there were like 15 different people at that bus stop, and not a single damn one of them using the Valley Metro app. I feel like Valley Metro has done a horrible job of getting the word out there that app exists. And even when I ask the drivers about it, the drivers are unfamiliar with it. It's crazy. Like, everything is concentrated in that app. I have some people say they use Google, and granted, there's transit information from Google, but it's like secondhand information from there. It's not updated to the minute like it is in the, and it doesn't feature, actual GPS tracking of vehicles, or in the situation where the vehicle isn't running, which happens a lot these days, where you get the message that says, hey, no tracking for this vehicle is available, and you realize that you put two and two together and realize, there's no tracking of that vehicle because that bus isn't actually running. It's scheduled. It ain't running. They don't have a driver for it. Yeah. So anyway, it was frustrating. Like, for me, I'm just so accustomed to knowing, it doesn't make the buses come any faster, but at least I know what's going on. And so I didn't know what was going on. Otherwise, I would have probably walked, even though I was carrying a bag from Target with a record in it. I would have probably still walked. But, yeah, nope. I just sat there, and eventually it became just, bewilderment of like, God, when is this bus going to come? And there were people that were, that were checking, they're like, well, it comes at this time. Oh, it didn't come at this time. And then there was a woman sitting there that said that she'd been waiting over an hour. I believe her. That doesn't shock me at all with the state of buses with Valley Metro, for somebody to be waiting over an hour at a local bus stop, especially considering, at best, they're only running every half hour on that particular route. I don't understand how a route that freaking busy is only scheduled to run every half hour, but it is. Eventually, they said the next bus was supposed to show up at 5:04. And I left Target. The time on my receipt was something like 4:18. So it couldn't have taken me that long to walk from Target to the train platform. To walk from Target to the train platform to and then north to Bethany. Couldn't have taken that long. So I was there quite a while. And then when that time came around, bus still hadn't shown up. And the thing is, when you're waiting at that stop, you got at the least about 6 minutes of warning that the bus is actually on its way, because you see it come down Bethany from the east and then turn left and go south on 19th Avenue and drop off at the Chevron and then continue south heading to the transit center before it does its loop around the transit center and that long left turn onto Montebello with the red left arrow, stop at the transit center, loop around the transit center, loop around the roundabout next to Target, and back down the little stretch of Montebello, turn right at the Chase Bank, and then the little over quarter mile up to Bethany, long left arrow, and then turn left. Like you've got, there's going to be at least that much time, and that's 7 minutes at best. At like 5 p.m. Friday traffic, there's no way into hell it's going to be that quick. It just isn't. Even assuming that bus wasn't overwhelmed with passengers, and of course it was overwhelmed with passengers, because it had been over an hour since any bus had gone down that street picking up, because the bus that was supposed to be a half hour previous to it didn't run. So by the time I got on the bus, and my apologies if I'm telling this story again, but I didn't want to get this one out. By the time the bus showed up, there were 20 people plus myself at 19th Avenue in Bethany trying to get on the Route 60 bus. And it was not one of the super large buses either. It was a smaller, not a small bus, but it was a smaller bus that showed up. And it was packed when it showed up. And the driver's like, hey, everybody just keep walking, don't stop, get as far to the back as you can. Which was kind of nice of him, because he could have just as easily said, sorry, I'm full, and just drove off and left us all sitting there for another, half hour-ish. But yeah, he was super late, he was scheduled to be there at 5:04, I think, and he probably showed up at about almost 5:30. And if there were that many people waiting at 19th Avenue in front of the hospital, I can only imagine how many people were waiting at the transit center, which would have people transferring from, not only people walking to it in the area, but people transferring from the light rail and anybody transferring from Route 15. So yeah, I would imagine, like, if the bus wasn't packed already from just being over an hour since there was a bus, from 16th Street and Camelback, I guess from 16th Street and Bethany home, because there's the 16 bus that runs up 16th Street, and then that first mile of the route, it's serviced by the 50. And I would imagine most people, after 2 50s come and a 60 still hasn't shown up, they're probably going to say, well, you know what, fuck this bus, and get on the 50 and figure something else out. I would imagine. They're smart. They know how the system works. But what a fiasco that was. And there was an older woman on a walker. There was a younger gal who had like a beach cruiser bicycle, and she loaded up that, normally I feel like bicycles slow down the boarding process a little bit, but she had that bike loaded a whole lot quicker than a lot of people got on. And there were some people that were still slow, because it's like the driver saying several times, hey, everybody move to the back. And by the time we got on there, it's the most crowded I've ever seen a Phoenix bus. We were butt to butt, shoulder to shoulder in that bus. And, it took a while for him to load all those people on. I can only imagine how much longer it took to load everybody at the transit center, which was the stop right before us. So, and I'm just like thinking, well, why the fuck did I even sit here? I only had 3/4 of a mile to walk. But, didn't, my mindset at that point was, I should be along soon. Yeah, I should know better. And, not wanting to walk carrying a brand new record. So, the next stop, which was at 21st Avenue, there were 3 people sitting at the bus bench, and he pulled over. I guess he was really hoping some people would get out, but nobody got out, and he basically opened the door and told them, hey, I'm sorry, I'm full. And, there's a good chance those people have been waiting over an hour too. So, Yeah, something's got to give. Fix Valley Metro. I feel like I want to start a hashtag. Hashtag Fix Valley Metro. Come on, Mayor Kate. You're supposedly running a progressive city here. What are you doing with your transit? It's fucking pathetic. You know, that fancy overpriced light rail line going down South Central Avenue isn't doing shit to fix all these buses that are running once every half hour, but half the time, at least a third of the time, don't show up whatsoever because you ain't got drivers for them. And the same kind of thing coming back from Bullock's today. I was sitting there. I left the bar at around 5 o'clock. First thing I did is check the transit app, see when the next 60 was running. It's like, oh, it'll be along in about 8 minutes. Awesome. And then I clicked the tracking, because I always click the tracking, and sure as shit, that one that's scheduled to be along in 8 minutes, it's not coming, which means it's going to be probably 38 minutes till the bus. Yeah, I'm not waiting that long. So I end up, in about 15 minutes, a southbound 27 shows up, and I'm able to see the tracking on it. When I first checked the tracking, it was at Metro Center, so yeah, it'll be along in a little while. And I got there, and it showed up in a reasonable time. And I was planning on getting off at Thomas and taking the Thomas across town, come home. Mind you, I went through. Oh, I didn't know if I mentioned it. I went thrifting today as well at the Sabres. Got a lot of cool shit. Talk about that later. But yeah, the plan on transferring to the Thomas bus. And as we were approaching Thomas, there was some guy that was being like super complimentary to the bus driver, which was nice. And he goes, "Hey, do you know how long it'll be till the Thomas bus going eastbound? How long it'll be till the Thomas bus shows up eastbound?" And I'm like, "Hey man, I can check that for you. I got the transit app." And which of course brought it to my attention that I hadn't checked it for myself yet. And it's like, "Ooh, the next one it's just like seven more minutes. Hang on, let me make sure it's actually running." And he looked at me kind of funny, and then I clicked it, and I'm like, oh no, damn, that's shitty. No, that one's not actually running. He's like, "How do you know?" I said, "Because the app shows shows it's not running. There's no tracking." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's a lot of buses not running these days." I said, "So you're gonna have to wait for the next one." So I clicked back on it, and then the next one was already running like 10 minutes late. The show was going to be 10 minutes late. So, it's like, yeah, you're looking about 48 minutes for the next bus. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it's getting pretty shitty. I said, I don't know about you, but I ain't waiting 48 minutes. I'm just going to keep riding this down to McDowell. And should have been a 20-minute wait at McDowell. Ended up being a 30-minute wait at McDowell. Because by the time, even though when I was riding southbound on the 27, it was at 83rd Avenue, and it was on time or maybe a minute late. By the time it made it to 27th Avenue, it was 10 minutes late. And that bus kept getting progressively later. And the passengers were angry, and the driver was pretty aggro and angry. I can't say I blame her, but, not helping the situation. And I had heard a bunch of passengers on that bus talking about how they were on the bus earlier that day on the 17, and that a driver pulled over that a driver was all pissed off and pulled over at 43rd Avenue. And this is just what I heard, so it might not have actually happened. Take it with a grain of salt. It's straight up hearsay. But I heard this guy telling another guy about it, how driver pulled off over at 43rd Avenue and told everybody they had to get off, that he was sick of it. He was done driving this fucking bus, and y'all just need to get out. I'm going home. I quit. I'm done. And he literally made everybody get off the bus at that stop, and presumably went and turned in his keys and said, take this job and shove it. Can't say I blame him. It's a pretty thankless job. And the Phoenix City doesn't seem to be stepping up the pays and perks to make it worthwhile for more drivers who want to sign on, or the drivers that are doing it to keep it up, and to tell people that, oh, well, you're going to have to, we're short, so you're going to have to work more hours. Yeah, that's not a solution. That's just causing more burnout of the people that are still doing it. So, I don't know if there is a solution, but Mayor Kate, if you're listening, it's your job to find the solution. Find the solution. On that note, I've wasted enough time bitching about bus problems. And I don't think anybody wants to hear me bitching about my sex life problems. So I'm going to go enjoy my comfortable, lonely bed while Priscilla's out having a good time without me, because the last time I tried to go out and have a good time with her, it wasn't a good time. And maybe I feel different if she would have, given me a little something good time. I'd have been down to go out with her. But yeah, not really down to go out with a person that's not, it's, just not that interested in spending time with a, dead bedroom partner. Anyway, on that happy note, thanks for coming with on the walk, and have a great